Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. And honestly, I want to say thank you to everybody that has been commenting on the videos recently. I really do try to read each and every one, and some of you guys have really good ideas. The last video, there was some really interesting input when it came to opening up superchargers, if Tesla should do it or not. And I just want to say thank you guys for everybody that took the time to share their thoughts. I appreciate it, and I really do enjoy hearing from you guys. So getting right into it, all of those documents that came out about Giga Berlin and the new plans, well, way more information than anybody needs. And I just want to highlight this right here, that the initial battery cell production is expected to be about 50 gigawatt hours of cells per year. Now, this was lower than originally anticipated, but as I've been saying for a long time, I think the 4680 ramp is going to be a slower process than some may be expecting. Nothing to worry about. It's just something that new and novel is going to take time, and they're going to have to iterate, and there's just a lot of unknowns. So I would just proceed with caution with all of this. Eventually, in time, years down the line, this should be a 3-figure gigawatt hour per year number of 4680 cells at each gigafactory. So something to keep an eye on to see how that plays out. And doing the math, 50 gigawatt hours is equivalent to 50 million kilowatt hours. So if you divide that figure by roughly 75 kilowatt hours per pack, that would mean they can produce about 670,000 Model Ys or Model 3s per year with that pack size. And at full capacity, phase 1 of Giga Berlin should produce about 500,000 cars per year. And that production could be starting in November, which is what we're going to get to for the meat of today's video. But first, this was circulating today, and I just want to remind everybody it's not a big deal. Longtime Tesla exec Jerome Guillen, who left the company, sold $274 million worth of shares after exercising stock options since June 10th. Now, this is always frustrating to me because I know this concerns many investors, and you can see it looking around the internet, judging by how people react to stuff like this. We have to keep in mind, not every single decision or action by one individual has any implication for the underlying stock. I mean, think about it. Jerome just spent a decade working at Tesla, had probably a large portion of his wealth in Tesla shares, stock options, etc. Now he leaves Tesla, and maybe he wants to start a new business venture. Maybe he wants to buy a yacht. Maybe he wants to do anything that you need cash to do. Well, guess what? You can't do any of that with stock options. So him selling a portion of his shares, even if he sold all of his shares, he has every right to do that. And once again, it's a personal decision. That does not necessarily mean there is some underlying thing going on with Tesla stock where everybody needs to run and sell their shares because he must have insider information that we're not aware of. So we're not going to go any further into this article. I just wanted to tell you face to face or face to screen that, hey, it's okay, no worries. This is just one man doing who knows what. It doesn't mean anything more than that. Now, this next bit I had to think about if I wanted to share or not. Of course, I came to the conclusion that yes, I'm going to share it. But what happened, this Alex has a Patreon where he shared these articles. Somebody leaked it. Alex got his hands on it and then shared it on Twitter, and now it's officially public information. But I just want you guys to know that it was indeed Alex Voigt who has his Patreon account who is coming up with this information. Now, where is he getting it? I'm not sure. But if you want to support Alex and this type of information, you can do so by joining his Patreon. And if either of you Alexes happen to watch this video, just know that I respect both of you very much. I really appreciate all of the work you guys have been doing. I don't want to fan any fires or any flames that is going on right now. I just want to get the information that's out there to more people to help all of us in the Tesla community enjoy the ride and the story that is Tesla. So hope you guys are okay with me continuing to share this information that is already public. So the highlights here. Early in November 2021, Tesla plans to start the production of the Model Y in the Gigafactory Berlin, a credible source informed me this week. And you may have heard on the Tesla podcast, it's been leaked with the detail that Tesla is preparing 2 different Model Y production versions on separate production lines at Giga Berlin. Now, I want you to know there are other rumors out there that are saying Tesla has reduced that from 2 lines down to 1. Stick with me for a second. One version was supposed to be for the new 4680 cell format with the front and rear gigacastings, and the other line was supposed to be for the legacy 2170 cells that are already used in Fremont and Shanghai with just the rear casting. The 2170 line would be a backup line. Now, stopping here, why would Tesla do this? Well, as I mentioned, this 4680 process is very new. There are so many new things that they're going to be learning for the first time. It's essentially a way to hedge or reduce your risk. If they were going to produce all of the Model Ys with the 4680s, well, if something goes wrong or they can't scale as quickly as they wanted to, the entire system is going to be shut down or it's going to come to a halt. Whereas if they have two lines, well, they can run this legacy system as a backup or a risk mitigation system to have those Model Ys that they know how to produce at scale, as they try to work in new 4680 production of that new line. And he continues, the first rear and front casting parts have already been produced at Giga Berlin and are currently used for testing in the process. The Eager casting machine works with aluminum sourced from Russia. See this picture. The structural battery pack and the front and rear castings are not yet aligning well enough for SP. SP would be that new 4680 line. The old 2170 line would be the legacy. So they're not aligning well enough for the SP to work well, and more detailed works need to happen for that production step to be perfect. It's been widely misunderstood by the public how far Tesla is already ahead in its factory construction. Minister Steinbach made a statement lately, and understanding that Tesla is already in the fine-tuning machining process internally is a strong signal that a production start in early November is indeed realistic. So how credible are Alex's sources? I'm not sure, but this all seems reasonable. Production in November seems reasonable. 2 Model Y production lines seems legit. Like I said, as a way to mitigate risk for the new SP, the new 4680 production line, just to make sure that they can get it up and running and scale it efficiently, while also having that background comfort blanket, if you will, of the 2170 or the legacy version. But then you have to think too, well, if I was a customer, I am definitely going to want the 4680 Model Y. So we'll have to wait and see when it comes to ordering your Model Y. Do you literally choose, I want the 2170, I want the 4680? Is Tesla not going to tell you? You're just going to end up with a Model Y and not know what battery pack it has. Will they be for sale for different prices? There's a lot of unanswered questions here, but as with everything else, let's just be patient and see what happens. Hubble Sphere on Reddit shared a picture of some infrared LEDs in the new Model S Plaid. Apparently these lights are like behind some plastic covering, or they're not picked up by most cameras. At least that's what the comments are telling me. But here's why I'm bringing this up. So a lot of people, I think, are sleeping on Comma AI and what they're doing from a scaling standpoint, getting toward autonomy. If you're not familiar with them, I suggest looking into them as soon as you have some time. But right now they have driver monitoring set up so where you can actually have your hands off the wheel. So it'll track your eyes and your movement, and if you look away for too long or whatever, then it'll kind of nudge you and give you an alert to pay attention. If you compare that to Tesla right now, well, if you take your hands off the wheel, then you're going to get a nudge telling you to put your hands back on the wheel. So that's the benefit of having this driver monitoring, is that you can actually have your hands off the wheel and they still have a way to tell if you're paying attention or not. And here's some anecdotal evidence. Hands-free is a big value add. That's why you're seeing everyone else go that way, like GM and Ford. Nudging or holding the wheel to appease alerts is tedious and just a waste of mental resources. Anyone who spent long hours with both hands-free and wheel nag will tell you it's hard to go back to wheel nag once you realize how much more relaxing hands-free is. I think it's really something you have to experience to understand. So sure, this could mean that around the corner, whether it's a few weeks or a few months, Tesla's going to have an option for true hands-free driving, maybe just on the highway or in certain limited situations. But according to a lot of people online, that real hands-free, not having the nudge to keep your hands on the wheel is a major benefit. So we'll see how this develops. There was also some people making a bigger deal of this than I think they need to. Long story short, this article says that Tesla has a new supplier, AGP, for the glass in the Plaid Model S. And yes, this was confirmed when Tesla Raj shared a picture of AGP manufacturing the new glass. But here's why I'm showing this to you. So Joey Klender from Teslarati, all due respect, went on to say, when Elon announced that he needed an extra week to tweak the Model S, he thought that it could have been related to the drag coefficient, meaning it had something in some way to do with this new glass because he said maybe the new glass will help with the drag coefficient. Well, I'm no expert here, but I am fairly confident that Tesla was not working on the drag coefficient 1 week before deliveries of this vehicle. Now, hey, somebody out there, if you're more well versed in this space than me, and maybe Joey's right and I'm completely wrong, please let me know. I would love to be corrected. I'm just saying that more and more people out there are gonna start reaching to try to piece these things together to find the next big discovery when it comes to Tesla. And hey, I appreciate the effort and the work, but you really have to think for yourself these days and think through what people are saying and if it actually makes sense. Now, hey, maybe AGP has something to do with the acoustic glass and we'll learn more about that, but this article didn't give us anything like that, so I don't know. That's that. But last thing today, what do you know? Tesla leaked an email and Electric obtained it. They got their hands on it. The email said, overall, we are executing well, but the next 12 days are super important for production and delivery this quarter. Please go all out. They shared this excerpt and then they shared the full email. The full email literally only adds, thanks, Elon. So nothing we haven't seen 100 times before. I remember the first time we heard this, it was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a huge quarter, but then we learned that they essentially are doing this every quarter. But hopefully we see another record quarter in Q2. We'll see if they can overcome the logistical challenges and the supply chain issues and all of that. But hopefully the first week of July, we will get that information. But that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please take a quick second to like the video if you did, and a major thank you to everybody on the next screen.